Good morning, everybody. Tuning to Cragcore. Thank you very much for tuning in today. It's been a while. I've been posting a little bit less frequently. The things going on in the world right now are just too mad, and there's so many different things. I feel like it just needs to settle a little bit before at least I, with my scarce knowledge of these subjects, with just an opinion, can actually get into it, because there are people out there that are talking about all of the stuff that's going on that are far better than I to describe it in greater detail based on endless hours of research and such, and backdated historical research where it all links together, people like dark journalists and what have you. So I'm kind of taking a back seat because I really can't do it justice, basically. You know, I can talk about the things that I see and give my opinion on it, but with regards to a lot of the deeper stuff, you know, school's out here. You know, I've got my opinions still, but you know, when somebody is able to do it better than you, then ultimately, you know, you should take a step back. So that's the reason why I've not been posting a lot. However, here we are. Nonetheless, here we are. Okay, so today I've got an opinion on something. Basically, today I'm going to be talking about something I've spoken about before, but this is a subject, and I'm talking about the satanic music industry stuff, because this is a subject that seems to just, once you start looking at it, you can't unsee it, which means it just gets bigger and bigger. You know, you notice it everywhere, and you notice it in films and all kinds of stuff. I mean, crikey, there is absolutely no end to this stuff. Now, what this does, it alludes to the fact that there is quite clearly something going on. And whether it's satanic or not, you'd have to say, well, okay, whether you believe that side of it is up to you, but you've got to see that there's something going on nonetheless, because there is. But when you see, you know, for instance, on face value, you could say, well, all of these hand gestures and symbols and the fucking lyrics, man, you know, okay, it might not be about the devil, man, but you look at interviews with people like, you know, Anton LaVey, for instance, who was the fucking Church of Satan dude. I mean, this is the Church of Satan. This is like the fucking Pope for the devil, right? You know, if the fucking Pope came out with a crucifix and said, you know, well, if you show this to people, it's a symbol of love, even though he wouldn't, but, you know, it's a symbol of love and understanding, and, you know, it will empower people. And all of a sudden you started seeing these people going out there, these singers and stuff, these fucking film stars, holding up crucifixes to people. You go, oh, yeah, they're spreading love, understanding and acceptance. But you see the Pope, the Pope to the devil, basically, okay? The fucking Anton LaVey dude, which personally for me is probably just another one in a long line of people that have kind of been in this position. You know, like the figurehead of, you know, the dark forces, so to speak. When you see him in interviews explaining the hand gesture that is like the devil horns, you know, like the metal sign, and he's talking about how if you, I'm not going to do it because, you know, then fucking hell, whatever, but if you spread your fingers apart so they're more like this, it's like a shotgun blast, and it's like putting a hex on people. It's about like putting a curse on people, a spell, basically. And if you keep your fingers tight inwards like this, it's like a focused shot. Now, that sounds mad, does it not? I mean, you it does, doesn't it? You go, what the fuck? Cragcore, mate, you've lost your fucking mind. But this isn't me saying this. This is the head of the Church of Satan here. This is the devil's Pope saying this. So you'd have to say then, you know, by design, that if this guy is saying this, and then these people, these film stars and fucking singers and stuff, are going out there doing these hand gestures and symbols and stuff, well then you'd have to say then that they are doing what this guy says it does, or at least they believe they're doing that. So let's just go back a step. This guy says it's a fucking hex, it's like a fucking curse, a spell, you know, it's like so okay, fair enough. So then these singers are putting a spell on you? These film stars are putting a spell on you, right? Is that not then what they're doing? Because by reflection, if the Pope, like I said, with the crucifix and stuff, so the religious, godly Pope, I beg to differ, but even still, he is the figurehead, the acknowledged figurehead, and therefore is revered and viewed as such. So, it's what are people doing here? You've got to look at this and say, well, there's clearly something going on. It does relate, some of it does relate to, and that's just the surface stuff that you're able to get your hands on. This is just the stuff that is like out there. There's an interview with Anton LaVey, big whoop. He did lots of interviews. I wonder why. Because they want you to know about this stuff, but then there's deeper stuff, isn't there, that goes along with this. There's deeper stuff like the fucking one eye, all of this. There is so much of that around. The one eye symbolism. There's the bath with the water in, or like a bath with blood in. This is symbolism with regards to this. If you look at music videos, you look at album covers and all these things, they are littered with this symbolism, with this imagery. It must mean something, because if you keep seeing something that is repeated, well, that means then, okay, that they are either all part of a group of individuals that are all into the same stuff, or there is one person controlling all of that. That's the only really two options, isn't it? Because it's not by random, is it? Oh yeah, I fancy having a bath full of blood. Yeah, I think I'm going to hold a hand over my eye. Yeah, because that's great, because that means something to me. Does it really? And what would that mean? You see, the thing is, there are illusions to this. People like to say that the one hand over the eye means the one-eyed man is king in the land of the blind. Now, let's just say we go back another step and we say that these people are putting a spell on you based on their hand gestures and stuff, with this whole fucking thing that they say that they do, like Anton LaVey. Right? So they're putting a spell on you. And what does the very nature of the media, such as music and film, what does that do? Well, it entertains, go and look at what the word means. It entertains the mind. It refocuses it. It controls your perspectives. Does it not? So therefore, you are being placed, because you're being placed under a spell, are you not? Because, is that not what a spell is? For instance, let's look at it in very, very simple terms at the nature of a spell. For instance, a love spell. Let's just say, what do? Somebody is going about their business, they have a love spell put on them, and now all of a sudden, their whole reality is now being changed. They can no longer think of anything else other than the person or the thing they have been made to desire based on the spell. So their reality has been altered. Their perception. They didn't desire this thing or this person. before the spell, and now they do. So their whole perspective, their whole outlook of what it is they desire in life has now been altered. All right, so that's the basis of what a spell is it not? Is it altering your perception? So, I mean, you could go deeper than that, but that's basic. So these people are in their whole, their job criteria is altering perceptions, and then they are finishing it off with a hand gesture that alludes to casting a spell, which is, in a roundabout way, altering your perspective as well. So they're kind of doubling down. They're saying the words and then shaking the wand, you know. So is it not the shaking of the wand after the incantation that actually casts the spell? It's the finishing touch, isn't it? It's abracadabra, alakazam, puff, you know? That's what it is, isn't it? So you've got to say, well, okay, so there's something going on. Because they're all doing these things, it can't be just complete happenstance. It has to be, it's not random, is it? Because they're fucking, all these different people are doing these same things. It's linked to things like Satanism. The very nature of their job is entrapment, ensnarement of the brain. You know, the redirection of your perception, which is therefore what a spell is. And they're fucking doing the hand symbols that give it the end game, that basically say, you know, there you go, done. The shaking of the wand. Now, I don't know, right, yeah? This, to me, I mean, then look at the lyrics. Fucking hell, we'll get to that though, but this to me just seems, it's just so obvious. So why is it, right? I mean, you know what? You know when you show people this? You show people this. I showed somebody a while back, and they had a go at me. I ended up having an argument with this person. They had a go at me because they were angry that I was showing them this. And I was thinking, okay then, right, fair enough. Why is this person angry? Well, because I suppose I have to remember when I heard about all of this, I wasn't angry, I suppose. I was felt a bit numb, I must admit. I felt a bit numb. Because this is when you realise that the things you thought you knew and the people that you'd been looking up to are actually just a load of fucking liars, and they don't give a shit, and they're not nice people. You know, they are out there doing you harm, keeping your fucking brain in a little fucking box is what they're doing, and they're doing it intentionally and putting it in your face. They're rubbing it in your nose. Sorry, they're rubbing your nose in it. So anyway, so I can understand why people get angry if that's their first response to trauma or to, you know, fear, I guess. Because it's scary to think that, hold on a minute, you know, but you see, why would they do this? You got to ask yourself why, because why would a group of people spend their whole entire... And this is where people fall off. They go, yeah, but why? I don't understand why. Well, let me tell you why. Because you've been lied to. And this is just my opinion. You've been lied to your whole lives. And you've been made to feel like you're this big. You've been made to feel like you're worthless. Your whole life is about going to work, you know, keeping your fucking nose to the grindstone, and earning money, paying taxes, keeping the system moving. You've been virtuous, you've been fed this virtuous fucking lie that in order to be a valid human being, you need to identify with all of these things that actually do not add to your life, they only take away. People identify and feel proud and virtuous because they have a certain career that earns them a certain amount of money. But what is money? What is these things? What happened in lockdown? People didn't go to work. people started to express themselves. How many people started to do crafts and these kind of things? Cookery. People start to express themselves artistically. Because make no mistake, cookery and stuff is still art. Anything expressive is, in my opinion, deemed as an artistic expression because it comes from nowhere. It's inspired. Now, these people, they've been lying to you your whole life, and it quite possibly goes back generations. Well, it does, clearly, because if you think back 3 or 4 generations of your family, everybody's done the same, which means everybody in your family that you could ever know have basically been fucking victim to this system. And they've been told at every possible angle that they are tiny, worthless. Their only fucking worth in life is to serve the system, like a good little worker bee. Now, why would somebody want to do that to you? This is where it starts to get a little bit deep, because you are an amazing human. You are an amazing existence. Your existence is amazing. It's tough to put it into words. Well, it's tough for me to put it into words, I'll tell you that. But think about it. Think about the human being. You are able to do so much. If you start looking into the esoteric, it's difficult to understand with just me doing a short video on this. But if you look into the esoteric, the arcane, you look into these things, dare I say the occult just means unknown, but you know, you look at all of these things about what it is that you're able to do. You start looking into the nature of the physical body, the soul, the energy body, all these different things. If you start looking into all of these things and find out what you're capable of, you will then start to realize why these people are hell-bent on keeping your consciousness as narrow, your consciousness field in the narrowest band possible. Because as soon as you do things, like for instance, I know this sounds crazy, but maybe not crazy, but people tend to switch off when you mention the word meditation. You know, because what is it? You've been fed this bullshit lie that these Tibetan monks are the people that meditate, you know, banging gongs and stuff. This is a fundamental part of human existence, is mindfulness and allowing yourself to be one within the constant ever-flowing moment. This is a fundamental part of human life. You will only ever start to feel whole and like your life has value and purpose and meaning as who you are when you start to do these things. Which is why I know that it is a fundamental part of what it is we're supposed to do with our lives. We're supposed to connect with the deeper aspects of us, who we are, and the reality of what it is that we exist within. You know, because fucking hell, of course, when you think about it, of course. How can you ever truly know who you are if all you ever do is spend your life being altered by other people? It's fucking crazy. Now, the lyrics, let's just go to the lyrics here before I finish this. The lyrics in these songs. Have you noticed that people start talking about Lucifer, Satan, the devil? I was listening to a song by the So Solid crew the other day, and it struck me. He says, well, I worship the devil and red is my best colour. Now, red being whatever, who cares? But he says, worship the devil. This, it can't go unnoticed that within the music industry, it is there. People talk about the devil and worshipping the devil all the time. And have you noticed that certain people, they start to talk about these things more as they progress and gain status within the music industry? I've noticed it. If you dare to look, but be warned, your perception will be... What's the word I'm looking for here? I'm drawing a blank here. Your perception will be reset. That's the word. And it was an R word. I was doing this in my mind. Like, but yeah, so... it's trying to keep it serious. It's mad, you know. I mean, why is it that these people all of a sudden start talking about all of this devil stuff, and then they become more popular, their production value on their music and their music videos and all these kind of things, their status, it goes up in levels, doesn't it, in stages. Then you start looking at professional photo shoots with these people, look at their music videos, all these kind of things, and they're all throwing up these fucking hand symbols. And then when you realise that it does relate, these hand gestures do relate to things such as Satan worship, by the words of Anton LaVey himself, remember, the fucking devil's pope, then ultimately you have to say then at this point it's come full circle. How can this not be a group of sick individuals that believe that what they're doing is manipulating the world? Well, what they are doing is manipulating the world, that believe that they're doing the work of some fucking evil deity. Everything about it fucking says so. Look at this. And I'm going to finish on this point. If your perception hasn't been altered to accept all of this, which is what they're doing, they're altering your perception to accept the evil deity, okay? To pull you away from goodness. You know, at the risk of sounding religious here, which I am not. But that's what ultimately they're doing. You know, the devil, Satan, is a biblical fucking character, is it not? So it's hard to not speak on a religious, or at least a religious vibration with regards to some of this. But if you think about it, right, 15, 20 years ago, would you have seen people with 666 tattooed on them out in the fucking, you know, just walking around? No. No, you fucking wouldn't have done. It's as simple as that. The answer is no. Would you have seen people spending thousands of pounds on vehicle number plates that have got 666 on them and driving around? No, you wouldn't. You bloody wouldn't have done. So now you accept this. And why do you accept all of this fucking satanic symbolism? Well, it's because your perception has been altered towards it. Because simply before, your perception was that this was unacceptable. Devil worship? 666 on your number plate? Fucking hell, what are you, a devil worshipper? But 20 years on down the line, people are doing it. And they think it's cool, and people are saying, well, yeah, no, I want a number plate with 666 on it. I want a 666 tattoo because my favourite singer's got it. You know? This is what is going on, and you've got to ask yourself why. Now, I could go into all of these things, man. I touched on the whole aspect of who you are. You are a divine spark within the universe, is basically the simple way of what I was trying to say earlier, where I got a bit lost, and I apologise about that. But there are many other reasons as to why. Maybe fucking prophecy fulfillment. Maybe these people think that what they're doing is for the betterment of mankind. I'm not saying that they don't feel like that. Perhaps they do. Who knows? You know, at the end of the day, I'm sure the Pope thinks he's doing the world a favour as well. When really, fucking hell, man. What you talk about leading people down a merry path? Shitting on a golden bog. Well, I don't know if he shits on a golden toilet, but I fucking dare say probably does. But anyway, let's not get facetious. There are many, many reasons as to why these people would want to control you. But you see, the main aspect of all of that is quite simply that. Control. It's about control, and it's about keeping you away from who you are. It's about keeping you away from realizing your full potential as a divine spark within this fucking reality that we live in. Everything you experience is on a physical basis. By design. By design, man. The moment you start to accept and realize, or I suppose realize and therefore accept, that there are many, many different aspects to the fucking reality that you are within right now. How can you explain things like ghosts? If you've ever been to a psychic medium and they tell you about things, if you've had experiences like these, well, then there is an existence that we can't see, is there not? That's very simple. But if you start looking into things like visible light, audible sound, we are within this tiny fraction of the bandwidth of what we're able to see and hear with regards to what our eyes can pick up with regards to light. All of these things, it's all waveform. It's all energy. It's all a frequency. This is known fact. Why is it you can see things on an infrared camera that you cannot see with your eyes? Why is it that you can see things on a fucking... on a radar or something? I don't know, like fucking hell. Electromagnetic fields, all of these things, they're there. You're watching this video right now using the internet. Can you see the internet? No, you cannot. It's been transmitted into your mobile phone or your laptop or your fucking PC screen. Or your television if you like to what's it called? Airdrop it to it or fucking whatever. I'm doing this. But air share? I don't know. Anyway, you can't see it. It's a frequency. But I dare say there's a camera that can see it. Should you be able to tune it in to actually seeing that waveform of energy. So once you accept that, once you realise these things, yes, you can't see infrared with the naked eye, but the stuff is there nonetheless, is it not? You can't see the radio signal coming into the radio, but you can hear the music, can you not? So ultimately, there are, in simple terms, obviously, things in this reality that we dwell within that are unseen and unheard. However, that proves that there is more to this reality than what we can perceive. And when you then accept that your perception itself is being narrowed down to within a fraction of what you're able to even have as a possibility, accept as a possibility, let alone a fact, well, then you're starting to get somewhere. And you're starting to realise what is going on. And perhaps a very little baby step closer to why. And on that note, I am going to say, this is Cragcore signing off. Fucking madness today, right? Jeez. I tell you what, thank you very much for being here with me and for continuing watching this channel I thoroughly appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. I hate begging like this. But you know what, man? It makes all the difference. And if you like the content, click the like button and stuff. This is Cragcore. I'm signing off. Thank you for tuning in today. And I'm going to wish all things, as usual, everywhere, love and peace. And again, peace on earth. To each and every one of you, thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in. This Cragcore signing off. Peace.